when I'm like listening to everybody talk, I keep thinking that our communities are not outcomes. Because we base so much off of grants and money as outcomes, right? You know, you have these youth programs, but you have to have so many youth of color. You have to have so many, like we're basing everything off of outcomes. But one thing I feel like has come together, especially during the pandemic and after watching some of these murders, I think now is a time where we can actually say what we need as a community and we're being listened to, but also being reminded that those who are trying to listen to us, that our communities still are not outcomes. At some point, you have to say, it's enough. We're going to support these nonprofits, these community members, and we're going to do it without anything attached to it. It has to happen. Because we can't keep expecting our communities to thrive and get out of these systems without that.
I think you said something that reminds me of what Adrienne Marie Brown says in Emergent Strategy, that like trust the people and the people become trustworthy. And how a lot of funders and people with resource do not trust community. But what is fascinating about this pandemic is the most trustworthy people are the community members. Because I think about, like you said, like there's this shift that's occurring, that people in South King County are no longer in a place to compete with each other, but we're actually in active partnership with one another. And I think that that's what's really beautiful about organizations and communities in South King County, is that one, we're already operating within a context of like historical disenfranchisement, right? And then we're operating within a region where we are the suburbs or the cities in a county with the largest urban core. So we're constantly competing against Seattle for resources, right? And so I think that this legacy of historical disenfranchisement, and then you layer this regional dynamic on top of it, a lot of us are realizing that we cannot be in competition with one another. You know, and how can we make sure that you all are successful and we're successful in the things that we're doing? Usually people think of community, think about community people who look like you, right? But it's like, I love South King County because I get to work with people who don't look like me, you know?
Oh, I love that. And that's so real, right? Because we have been forced into this mindset of scarcity for such a long time. And it's like we always used to say back in the day, a lot of the old heads would say, oh, they're just throwing crumbs from the table. They want you to come sit at the table and share all your ideas and have focus groups, and they give you some pizza or a little gift card, and then they take your ideas and they create a program, and then they put Becky on the front line to work the program in your community. And so we saw that happen for years. That's not like a new thing, right? Of gathering community, getting the information from the community and taking it and using it how they want to use it, which is so unfortunate. But it just creates a part of that piece to me is a systemic oppression, right? But the other piece is not giving any of that power or control to the community itself. The community itself can do its own work, right? We have everything we need. Everything, and I mean everything from mental health, substance, life skill coaches, to safety, to you name it. Everything that we need for our communities to thrive exists already in our communities. And it looks like everyone we're talking about and everyone that's sitting around this table, right?
In 2020, when deep in the pandemic, when folks in South King County needed to be served, gender diverse folks, trans and Fafafinis, Mahus, Wakasalewalewas, they congregated here in Kent, and they showed up. They showed up every Monday, while dealing with harm themselves, while navigating a pandemic that they were already living of harm and neglect. They showed up to serve folks from all walks of life, to distribute food every Monday in Kent, distributing 600 to 800 boxes of food. That is such a beautiful picture to reflect back and to see, because these people have suffered a lifelong series of harm, neglect, and lack of dignity. But here, when it's a will call, when there's time for them to, for folks to show up to help, they come in numbers. In deep in the pandemic, when people didn't want to come out and do anything because they were scared, we didn't know much about the virus at that time. So I know people were fearing to congregate. Here there were folks volunteering, and that is the power of people who are resilient. I think they have that power. They show up, and that's magical.